I still remember the sound of gravel under our tires that afternoon, the way it crunched slowly like it was thinking twice about letting us pass. My mom didn't say much on the drive. She rarely did when something heavy was sitting on her chest. She just kept both hands on the wheel, eyes forward, jaw tight, like if she loosened up even a little, 30 years of memories might spill all over the dashboard. We pulled up to this half-forgotten construction site on the edge of town, nothing fancy, just rusted fences, stacks of old lumber, and a group of men taking a break under the shade of a dying oak. One of them stood out. Older than the rest. Dinner. His back slightly curved, like life had leaned on him for too long and never really let go. That's him, my mom said quietly. He didn't ask who. He already knew. People talk about first love like it's a chapter you close. What they don't tell you is that sometimes it's a whole book you keep rereading when no one is watching. That man, standing there with dust on his boots and sweat on his collar, he wasn't just part of my mom's past. It was the road she didn't take. And whether she liked it or not, I was about to walk straight into a version of that road myself. Funny thing about life. It don't repeat stories exactly. It just changes the names and waits to see if you make a different choice. My name is Evelyn Carter, and this is the story of the summer that didn't ask for permission before it changed everything. I grew up in Brighton Cove, one of those coastal towns that looks calm on postcards but feels suffocating if you stay too long. My family had money. Not flashy money, but quiet, controlled money. The kind that buys you expectations before it buys you freedom. I was 22 that summer. Home from art school for a few months. Supposed to relax. Supposed to reset. Mostly I just felt like a guest in my own childhood bedroom. Every morning followed the same routine. My mom reminding me to call people who could help my future. My dad reading the paper like the world hadn't changed in 40 years. And me, pretending I didn't feel like my life was already being decided in rooms I wasn't invited into. Then one afternoon, everything tilted. I was at the old pier, sketchbook on my lap, trying to draw the ocean but somehow always ending up drawing empty spaces instead. That's when I heard a voice behind me say, "You know the waves don't like being told where to go." He turned around, half annoyed, half curious. It was leaning against one of the wooden posts, sunburned nose, messy brown hair, smile like he didn't take himself too seriously. Work boots. Faded jeans. A guy who looked like he belonged outside, not stuck behind a desk pretending to care about meetings. "I'm not telling them where to go," I said. "I'm just trying to keep up." He laughed, soft and easy. "Good luck with that. Osen's been ignoring us for years." That was Caleb Reed. He didn't ask for my number. Didn't try to impress me. He just sat down next to me like it was the most natural thing in the world, kicked his boots off, and watched the water. "I work at the mill up north," he said, like he was explaining the weather. "Cut timber. Fix things. Break my back a little every day. And you just talk to strangers at piers for fun?" he asked. "Only the ones who look like they're thinking too hard." Isolde walked away. He didn't. We talked until the sun dropped low enough to turn the water orange. About nothing important and everything that mattered. Music. Bad hops. Good mistakes. The kind of conversation that don't feel like an interview. Used two people breathing the same air for a while. When I stood up to leave, he said, "I'll be here tomorrow." Not a question. Used a fact. And I showed up. Over the next few weeks, Caleb became part of my days without ever trying to own them. He'd meet me after work, sometimes still smelling like pine and sweat, sometimes with a stupid grin and two melting. He said creams because he forgot it was hot. He taught me how to skip rocks properly. I taught him how to see shadows instead of objects when he looked at my drawings. One night, lying on the hood of his beat-up truck, staring at a sky full of stars, he said, "You ever notice how quiet things get right before you decide to change your life?" He laughed. "That's dramatic." "Yeah," he said, smiling. "But it's usually right." With Caleb, I felt lighter. Like I didn't have to perform. He didn't have to be the good daughter or the promising student or the girl with a future already planned out. He could just be Evelyn. Barefoot. Messy. Unsure. My parents noticed, of course. My mom started asking questions disguised as concern. "Who are you spending so much time with? What does he do? Does he have plans?" My dad didn't say much, which somehow felt worse. Then came the dinner. They invited Caleb over, pretending it was casual. It wasn't. It showed up in a clean shirt that still somehow looked wrong in our dining room, like a wild animal trying to sit politely at a table meant for tame ones. It was respectful. Keen. Even funny at times. But no matter what he said, I could feel the gap widening. The farmer accidentally fell in love with the tycoon lady at one point, my dad asked. So, Caleb, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Caleb paused. Took a breath. Hopefully healthy. Maybe owning a small place. Fixing it up. Making it mine. Silence. Not because it was a bad answer. Because it wasn't the one they wanted. After he left, my mom closed the door and said, Evelyn, sweetheart, this is a summer thing. He looked at her. Really looked at her. And for the first time, I saw fear behind her eyes. No, I said quietly. This feels real. She swallowed. So did mine. That was the first crack. The night everything broke open, Caleb took me to an abandoned house by the river. Just a skeleton of wooden memories. He walked me through it, pointing with excitement. Kitchen here. Big windows there. And this room, he said, opening his arms wide, this could be yours. For painting. For dreaming. He sold babe and scare. He wasn't there. Standing there, surrounded by dust and possibility, I realized something terrifying. He wanted this. Not the house. The life. The uncertainty. The choosing. When he kissed me that night, it wasn't rushed. It wasn't perfect. It was real in a way that made my chest ache. And somewhere deep inside, I knew. This love was going to cost me something. The thing no one tells you about falling in love is how quickly the world starts taking notes. People watch. They whisper. They decide what your story should be before you even finish living it. And once they do, it takes a lot of courage to tear up the script. After that night at the river house, something between Caleb and me shifted. Not in a loud way. More like the quiet hum you hear when a room fills with electricity. We didn't talk about forever. We didn't have to. We just moved through our days like two people who knew exactly where they stood, even if the ground beneath us wasn't solid yet. He started spending more time away from home. Less answering questions. More excuses. My mom noticed everything. She always had. But instead of confronting me directly, she changed tactics. She got softer. Kinder. Which somehow felt more dangerous. One afternoon, she asked me to join her for tea. That's how I knew it was serious. There was never just tea in our house. There was negotiation. She sat across from me, hands wrapped around her cup, eyes searching my face like she was trying to find a younger version of herself there. I don't want you to get hurt, she said finally. He smiled. I already am. A little. But it's the good kind. She shook her head. That's what I thought too. And then she told me everything. About the summer she fell in love with a boy who worked construction. About the way he made her laugh. About the plans they whispered to each other when no one was listening. About how she believed love would be enough. It wasn't it, she said quietly. Not when reality showed up. He wanted to argue. I wanted to say she was wrong, at times were different, that Caleb wasn't some passing phase. But the truth was, part of me was scared because I could see how easily I might end up standing exactly where she was now, warning a daughter who didn't want to listen. I just want more for you, she said. And I realized what she really meant. She wanted me to choose safety over truth. Stability over longing. The kind of life that looks good from the outside, even if it slowly empties you out on the inside. Things came to a head at a charity gala my parents insisted I attend. Big room. Crystal lights. People who spoke in careful sentences and laughed like they were being graded. Caleb didn't belong there. He knew it. He knew it. But he came anyway, because I asked him to. He wore a borrowed jacket that didn't quite fit, hair combed back in a way that made him look uncomfortable, like a kid dressed up for a school play. Still, when he smiled at me from across the room, my heart settled. Like it always did. Until the question started. So what do you do again? How interesting. Oh, is that seasonal work? They didn't mean to be cruel. Not exactly. They just didn't see him as someone permanent. Someone real. He watched Caleb shrink, just a little, with every polite nod. Watched the light dim behind his eyes. At one point, he leaned over and whispered, "I think I'm gonna step outside." I nodded. He didn't follow. That's something I regret more than I like to admit. When I finally found him, he was standing alone in the parking lot, jacket off, staring at nothing. "This isn't your world," he said before I could speak. "It could be," I replied. He turned to me then, really looked at me. "Evelyn, you deserve a life that don't feel like a constant fight." "So do you," I said, my voice breaking. He smiled, soft and gentle. "Yeah. But I've already made peace with what man looks like." That's when I understood what he was about to do. A week later, my parents sat me down and told me they arranged an internship for me in New York. A big one. Prestigious. Life-changing, they said. Leaving in 2 days. I ran to Caleb's place, heart pounding, rehearsing speeches about love and courage and choosing each other. But when I got there, he was already packed. "I can't ask you to stay," he said quietly. "And I won't be the reason you give something up." "I'm not giving it up," I cried. "I'm choosing you." He shook his head. "If you choose me now, do you resent me later? And I can't live with that." We stood there, inches apart, both of us breaking in slow motion. "I love you," I said. "I know," he replied. "That's why I'm letting you go." And just like that, the summer ended. New York was loud in all the wrong ways. Bright. Fast. Full of people who looked like they knew exactly where they were going. I threw myself into work. Long hours. Late nights. Smiling at the right people. Saying the right things. Every day, I waited for something from Caleb. A call. A message. Anything. Nothing came. What I didn't know was that he wrote to me. Every single day. Letters he never missed. Words he poured onto paper like it was the only way to stay alive. My mother intercepted them all. She told herself it was kindness. Protection. That letting me move on was the merciful thing. Maybe she believed it. Maybe she just couldn't bear watching me make the same mistake she thought she had. Months passed. 10 years. Caleb enlisted when the mill shut down. Said he needed something steady. Something that gave him purpose. He saw things overseas that changed the way he slept, the way he spoke, the way he held himself. He heard none of it. He built a new life. Or at least, I learned how to stand inside one. He met Thomas Hale at a gallery opening. Polite. Thoughtful. Safe. He listened when I spoke. He remembered things. He fit into my world without friction. When he proposed, it made sense. That's the most dangerous phrase in the world. 7 years after that summer, I saw the listing. A white house by the river. Recently renovated. For sale. My heart stopped. He drove back to Brighton Cove without telling anyone. When I pulled up to the house, it was everything Caleb had promised. The windows. The light. The room for painting. And him. Standing in the doorway like no time had passed and all of it had passed at once. We didn't hug. We didn't smile. We just stood there, staring, trying to recognize the people we'd become. "You re-engaged," he said, noticing the ring. "Yes," I replied. "You?" He shook his head. "No, we talked until the sun went down. About work. About loss. About the things we didn't say." That night, the rain came hard and sudden. We ran down to the river like we used to, laughing, soaked, breathless. When he kissed me, it wasn't reckless. It was inevitable. Later, sitting on the floor, wrapped in blankets, he said, "I wrote to you. Every day." My stomach dropped. "I never got them," I whispered. The truth landed between us like a quiet explosion. And for the first time in 7 years, the story finally made sense. The hardest part wasn't realizing we still loved each other. The hardest part was realizing how much damage time had done while we were busy being responsible. The morning after the rain, I woke up on the couch in Caleb's house, wrapped in a blanket that smelled like wood smoke and old paint. For a moment, everything felt suspended. No past. No future. Used the quiet creak of the house settling around us like it was breathing. Then reality walked back in. I remembered the ring on my finger. I remembered Thomas waiting back in the city, probably worried, probably trusting. And suddenly the room felt too small for the weight of all the choices he'd been avoiding. Caleb was already up, standing by the window, coffee untouched in his hand. "You should go," he said without turning around. He hated him for saying it. And loved him more for it. "I don't want to hurt anyone," I whispered. Nodded. "I know. That's kind of your thing." There was no bitterness in his voice. Used truths. The kind that don't accuse, it just sits there and waits for you to be brave enough to face it. When I left, he didn't ask me to stay. He didn't follow me outside. He didn't make it harder than it already was. That's what made it unbearable. The drive back was a blur. Somewhere between the highway and the city, my chest tightened so hard I had to pull over. He couldn't breathe. He sat there shaking, gripping the steering wheel, finally allowing myself to read the letters Caleb had given me that morning. 365 envelopes. 365 chances that never reached me. They weren't dramatic. No grand speeches. Used him talking about his days. His fears. His hope that maybe, one day, he'd write back. By the time I finished the last one, my hands were numb and my face was soaked with tears. He realized something then. He had spent years trying not to hurt people, and somehow still managed to hurt everyone. Including myself. When I got back to the hotel, Thomas was waiting. He looked relieved when he saw me. Then he saw my face. "You saw him," he said. He nodded. He didn't raise his voice. Didn't accuse me. He just sat down across from me, hands folded, like he was bracing for impact. "I need you to tell me the truth," he said. "Even if it ends us." So I did. He told him about the letters. About the house. About the way my heart had never really let go, no matter how hard I tried to convince myself it had. When I finished, he exhaled slowly and leaned back. "I was always afraid of this," he admitted. "Not because I didn't trust you, but because I knew I wasn't your first love." He started to cry, apologizing over and over, but he stopped me gently. "Loving someone don't mean owning them," he said. "And I don't want to be the reason you spend the rest of your life wondering." That was the moment I understood what real love looks like. Sometimes it don't fight to keep you. Sometimes it steps aside so you can become who you really are. We ended things quietly. Respectfully. Painfully. And that night, I drove back. Khalid thought I was someone else when he heard the door. It was halfway down the stairs before he stopped, disbelief spreading across his face. "I came back," I said, voice shaking. "And I'm not leaving again." He didn't move at first. Like he was afraid if he did, the moment would disappear. Then he crossed the room in 3 long strides and pulled me into his arms like he'd been holding his breath for 7 years and could finally let it go. We didn't say forever. We didn't need to. We just chose each other. Finally. Fully. Without apology. Life wasn't easy after that. Love never promised it would be. We argued. We struggled. Money was tight. So many days were heavy in ways romance movies never show. But every morning, I woke up in that white house by the river, sunlight spilling across the floor, knowing I was exactly where I belonged. We grew old together there. Wrinkles. Laughter lines. Quiet routines. The kind of love that doesn't shout anymore, because it don't have to. Then the forgetting began. At first it was small things. Names. Dates. Where she put her keys. He joked about it. He laughed with me. Neither of us wanted to say the word out loud. Alzheimer's. The day I forgot his name was the day something in him broke. He stayed anyway. Every day. Every night. Retelling our story like it was a prayer. Sometimes I remember. Sometimes I didn't. On the good days, he'd look at him and say, "You feel familiar." On the bad days, he'd pull away, scared of the stranger trying to hold my hand. And still, he stayed. Until one night, when his heart finally gave out. He slipped out of the hospital quietly and made his way back to me. Sat beside my bed. Held my hand. He was lucid then. Clear. Present. "Do you think love can make miracles?" he asked him. He smiled through tears. "I think love is the miracle." They found us the next morning. Hands intertwined. Gone together. Used like we promised. And that's the thing about love. It don't always arrive on time. It don't always look sensible. But when it's real, it waits. It endures. It remembers, even when you can't. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of someone you loved, or a choice you once made, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, do you believe love should follow the heart, or the safe path? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want more stories like this. Thank you for sitting with me through this one. It meant more than you know.